Hi, friends. Welcome to the latest edition of Here's What We Know, the podcast of unexpected conversations. And I'm going to let you a little on inside baseball. We've been trying to make this happen for a year. But one day it'll be like, she'll go like, oh, something's come up. I've got this writing session. And then I'll come up with some very lame excuse like, I don't know, I need a pedicure, something. But anyway, we come up with some kind of lame excuse. And it's usually me. And finally, I've got one of the hottest writers in Nashville right now, Trannie Anderson, joining me. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Gary, I'm doing so good. I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
She was just telling me she just went and grabbed her lunch, and we were talking sandwiches. And listen, let's just start right off on sandwiches, because you went to Jersey Mike's, right? Is that your go-to, or is that just who was closest?
That is my quick sandwich of choice, for sure.
But it's kind of funny because I have teenagers, right? So me and my wife and my youngest like Jersey Mike's, but my oldest does not like anything Jersey. He's a plain sandwich guy. He just wants meat, bread.
Okay, so he might like Jimmy John's is like that.
You could get anything. The problem is they don't do roast beef at
Jimmy John's.
No, at Jersey Mike's. I mean, it's all they kind of.
Oh, do they not?
I don't think they have a roast beef thing, right? They
have.
I
haven't paid attention to that.
I don't know, but anytime I've ever gone there, he's like that. So we end up going. We have the sandwich shops in California like Togo's and Mr. Pickles. So that's just the one we end up going on. And I never get the same sandwich twice.
Mm-hmm.
I go around.
I'm a creature of habit. If I like a sandwich, that's what I get.
Well, you and my wife and my sons, they're all that same way. They get the same thing every time. And for me, I don't know what I might miss.
That's actually a really fair point, and I should probably change it up more than I do.
Well, it's a FOMO kind of thing, but it's more like a fear of sandwiching out, missing the right sandwich. and I've found some like really cool stuff, and I found some stuff that I've like, well, I never have to do that again.
Yeah.
But there's something
I should be more adventurous. My dad would be proud of me if I was more adventurous with my
that, and also the other key for me is the potato chip.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Do you have are chips part of it for you, or are you just so wonderfully health conscious that you never do that?
These are my favorite. The Miss Vicky's spicy dill pickle.
Spicy dill pickle. Oh, I have gotten in where I love the spicy stuff, and like Ruffles now has the spicy cheddar and sour cream and stuff like that. I'm all in.
Spicy is always my favorite. It's probably because I'm from Texas and I grew up eating spicy things, so I always like a little spicy.
What was the best thing your mom made? When your mom makes you a birthday meal, what is it you want?
I like this interview. This is fun.
We can go all around everything else, but this is the stuff that I like doing.
I would say, my mom cooks really, really good food, but my dad cooked as much, if not more. And so the meal that came to my mind when you asked me was actually something my dad would make. This is really country of us, but my dad and I would go
from Alabama, so I just want to remind you of that.
Yeah, good. My dad and I would go fish at like maybe 4 p.m. and catch a bunch of catfish, clean them, and then he would fry them. So in like a 2-hour window of time, we would catch and cook our dinner. And my dad just like fries catfish so perfectly and makes this really good sauce to go along with it. And so that's probably my favorite thing that I ate growing up was fried catfish, fried okra, fried anything.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm from Alabama. We'd fry water if we could figure out the recipe.
Yeah, totally.
But my thing is my mother loved catfish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am not a freshwater fish guy. You know why?
Really?
Because all the bones. I don't care what you talk. You get a trout, or you get a brim, or you get a bass, and that thing's got 4 zillion bones. This is my impression of somebody eating bass. This is really good. That,
Dang. The way my dad cleans it, there were never really bones in our bass.
well, yeah, your father is a savant. And maybe he loved his children more than my parents loved mine. Than theirs. They're just like, here, we're just going to have fish and we're going to kind of scale it and then we're fried up in here, spit the bones out. And
Yeah.
it kept me from enjoying freshwater fish. Now the worst thing about catfish, because my mother loved catfish so much. The worst thing about catfish was cleaning. Did he make you clean the catfish? Did you have a job?
Yeah, I would help him clean the catfish. My job was to, we'd put after we cleaned them, like we'd put the carcass of it, that's just a nasty word, but in the bucket. And, and then so my job was I had to take the bucket full of just dead, unusable catfish
Good.
body. And my job was to walk it to the creek bed and throw it in there. And then that would be some coyotes' dinner or raccoons' dinner.
We would clean it on the boat sometimes and throw it back in. You know why? You know who
Oh,
eats
yeah.
You know who eats all the parts?
The other fish.
Catfish. The other catfish.
Yeah.
The catfish will eat a catfish in no time flat.
Those cannibals.
My job is we had a nail up on a post, and you'd take the catfish, and you got to make sure you wear gloves because the fins got a little poison on them. And you slam the catfish on the nail, and then you take a pair of pliers and pull the skin off.
Yeah.
I
did the same thing.
Because I hate scaling a fish. And that was the one thing I liked about catfish. But the worst thing about a catfish was trying to get that thing off with all the slime that was coming off the fish anyway.
Yeah.
See, I think we're so far removed from our food, right? I mean, I think my sons would be horrified if they knew what had to happen for that fish sandwich or those fish sticks to get to your plate.
So true. My dad taught me otherwise. I was right in the middle of it.
Well, and my first job was on a dairy farm, right? And
really?
You will never find as a vegetarian on a dairy farm. Because it's like, no, I'm going to eat you, cow. I'm going to eat you so hard, because cows are mean. They're big. They run over you,
Yeah.
So, no, my job was.
My family had cattle too, not dairy farms. We had beef cattle, but
yeah.
So was that in Alabama that you did that?
Yeah, my first job ever was hooking up cows to a milking machine. And it was so funny because I'd have to be there at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was like 9 or 10 years old. And those cows would be waiting on you because they needed to be milked, and they needed to be milked right now. But yeah, it was. Again, I was having a conversation with this economist. I was in London, standing in line to go see a Shakespeare play at the Globe Theater. That's how globetrotting I am, right? Hooty-dooty, hoity-toity. And my wife and I started talking to this guy, and he's an economist. And this was in 2008. This is when everything was melting down. And he goes, the scary part about what we do now is if this would have happened 50 to 100 years ago, it's not nearly as scary because we weren't as far removed from growing our food. Now the vast majority of us have no idea how our food gets to our table. And he goes, that's how wars start. And I'm like, oh, well, cool. Thanks. This is going to be a great play.
Wow.
Now that I've got that bright spot to take with me.
He's not wrong.
That's the scary part, right? But I mean, growing up in Texas, and there are a couple of places, in my opinion, in America that are lands unto themselves. Virginia's Virginia. Georgia's Georgia. Minnesota's Minnesota, right? I mean, it's just part of the Midwest or the South or the West. But when you go to Louisiana, Texas, or New Mexico, those are 3 independent countries who just happen to exist in the United States.
Very different places, too, all right in a row.
Well, you just look at the country music scene in Texas. I always kid everybody. When we have him come out here, I would go, y'all, you need to come see Aaron Watson. He's the richest man you've never heard of.
True. Yeah. I know quite a few of those guys, and I mean, coming from Texas, I like hung out with a few of them and or were mentored by a few of them, and I mean, yeah, it is a whole other world, and they all do really well. They have to be road dogs, but they do really well.
They make a lot of money. I mean, don't feel
Yeah.
sorry for Pat Green.
Yeah.
We only had Wave on Wave. Don't feel sorry for Pat Green. He's doing quite nice. If you need him, he's
Yeah.
at one of his 2 country clubs. Don't feel.
Yeah. Because of touring. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just and like Texas radio, it's better than anybody.
Yeah.
If you leave California or Alabama and you go to Texas and turn on the radio, you're going to hear songs you've never heard. I don't care how much you listen to
For
country
sure.
radio.
Yeah, you're gonna hear red dirt country.
That you grew up in that scenario. I mean, when did music become a thing to you? How young were you when music became a thing?
Yeah, well, I wrote my first song when I was 6 years old, and I mean, yeah, it was called Magic Carpet, so don't get too excited about it, but,
That's not
um, but I was super drawn to creating at a really young age, and I grew up in the church, and so most of all the first songs I wrote were all Christian songs,
yeah.
and, um I wrote a little bit of country at that time, but, that really, like, evolved for me later, um, and, yeah, I mean, I had a band in high school, I had a band in college, and, never really wanting to be an artist, that was just the only way that I had at the time to show my songs to people, and, so and all of that led me to wanting to move to Nashville, and that's why I live here now, and, it's the best job in the world.
Because you're really good at it. I mean, nobody's doing
Thanks.
charity for you. And you say that, and it's just even at your young tender age, and yes, you are. Um, uh, Having a band in high school, especially a female, was
Mhm.
still not a common occurrence. Now, when I was growing up, it's completely
No.
unheard of. But for you, it was still a very uncommon occurrence. So
Yeah.
you were carving out a path that not a lot of people were walking.
Yeah. It's true. It's true, and I maybe I just was born bullheaded, I'm not sure. I just didn't care that I didn't see a bunch of other people doing it, but actually, it's funny, at that time when I was growing up in the Waco area, there were a couple other girls that were country singers and had bands too, so I wasn't completely on my own doing that, there were a couple other girls around me doing that,
Well, I love that you had the church background, and
yeah,
not only that, because I don't hide my faith. I'm a very devout Christian, but one of the things
yeah,
I wanted to sit back and say is you had to learn when you grew up, you understood the emotional impact of songs. And that's what religious songs
absolutely.
do. Now, country songs can tell a story, dance songs serve their purpose, whatever. But when you had to learn how to convey an emotional thought,
Wow, that's a really good point.
that was something. Listen, Heart Like a Truck almost has that church overtone, right? Because
Yeah,
it's getting that emotional thing and having that church background, I think means something,
yeah,
it is well with my soul. I mean, that's not a yay, but it
yeah.
conveys such an emotion. And that background is just, I see it in a lot of your stuff all the time.
Wow, Gary, I've never you were the first person to point that out to me. I think you're totally right. Um, that had never crossed my mind, but you're totally right because even as an 8-year-old girl, 9-year-old girl, learning, like playing in church and playing my songs during the offertory, the way I was taught to write songs and the way that naturally came to me was you build something and you build an emotion. And like oftentimes like worship songs and church songs have these incredibly emotional bridges, and the song just like dynamically builds so much. And yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but that's exactly how I approach songwriting.
Well, I'm happy that I could share that with you. Like I said, I'll be honest with you. Before I do any podcast, I'm always like, "Hey, God, whatever you need from me, just use it. You know, whatever you need me to say, just have me say it." But that's where when I do my research on everybody, and yours is easy to do because I play your songs all the time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
It was quite easy to do, but that's the one little thing that I always saw is that you're able to tie into such an emotional reservoir, even on your
Mm.
fun songs, even the songs that you do Wildflower, Wild Horses, and stuff like that. It's still got to reach back into an emotion that you're conveying, right? That I love that the way you're starting to get the reputation like Nicole Gallion. When you hear a Nicole Gallion song, you know it's a Nicole Gallion song, right? When I
Yeah.
hear a Trannie Anderson song, I'm like, even when I hear it, and I don't even know if it's you, I'm like, I gotta see. Let me get my phone. Is Trannie on there? Because it's a wonderful thing that you bring.
That means a lot. And I really appreciate you knowing my stuff well enough to pick up on that.
Oh,
That means
listen,
a lot.
I, that's the thing, and I'm glad that you found songwriting, but and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus here. And I know you will just smile politely. But there are some songwriters that when it comes to singing are amazing songwriters, right? You are an amazing singer. Most
Thank
most
you.
people sit back and I can say that. And I know some of the guys and they'll sit back and say, yeah, well, this is why I got them to sing it because I can't. Right.
Yeah. I
But
know I know exactly what you mean.
but I enjoy it. And one of the things I love when we have Trannie out to perform, I love watching the audience go, "Oh my God." They're blown away by you. And every single time we've
Oh.
had that happen, I'm not kidding you. If you ever get a chance to go see Trannie Anderson perform, get ready. Get
Oh.
ready. Because you're
Well,
you're gonna be
thanks.
like,
I'll be back this year. I don't know if Nate told you that.
yes, he did tell me that, but I know that. But I'm just saying, this is a worldwide podcast. So if you get a chance
Yep.
to see Trannie Anderson, yes. If you see her on a songwriter night or doing a showcase, yes. Because you're gonna walk away and go, wow. I mean, uh, watching you sing Heart Like a Truck, and I
Thanks.
never watch you. Here's the secret. I never watch you. I like to watch the audience. Because they're
Yeah,
just blown away.
that's
Well, is
so
she gonna
sweet.
hit the note? Yes. Is she gonna carry it for a long time? Yes. Like her and Lainey Wilson are peas in a pod. Yes.
Yeah. Man, Gary, I need you to be my manager. You say nice things about me.
Anytime you
Thank
need
you.
anytime you need to be reminded of who you are, you've got my number, my dear, because I
Oh,
will
you're
be
the
happy to
best.
remind you of who you are. And
Oh,
every now
thank
and
you.
then we all need that. Because look, as I said before, nobody's coming to you with charity work. You sit back and you look at who you work with. And when it comes to
Yeah.
singing, hey, you want a little hidden song? Look up George Burgess. It won't be long, or it's not. Yeah, it won't be long. And you'll hear a lady singing in the background. That's Trannie Anderson.
That's your girl.
That's my girl. That's
Yeah,
Trannie Anderson right there. And I'm like, who that
that's
is?
been a really fun evolution the last really like the last year. I feel like a lot of my artist friends are asking me to sing on their projects, and even songs I didn't write too, which is has been really, really fun for me because I do love to sing, even though I don't want to be the one who is on the tour bus and on the jet traveling the world and living out of a suitcase every day. I don't want to do that, but I love to sing. And so it's been really fun to get to use my voice in that way and like help support my friends' music.
Well, the Lord blessed you in so many ways. But let's go down that rabbit hole because we don't think
Sure.
about that, right? You don't think about the cost it takes to be an artist. And
Oh
let's be clear, you could be, you can be. And
yeah.
you may end up being sucked into that world anyway. And I'm just sitting there telling you your talent's that big that you may just get if the good Lord decides and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But at this early of the stage to get that glimpse of what these men and women, especially women. I just had Megan Patrick on.
Megan, that's one of my good friends.
I know, right? And Megan and she had this really good thing. She goes, because we're recording, and she goes, I apologize for not doing any makeup. I said, you don't need makeup. And she kind of went off, not on me. She went off and she goes, oh, Gary, you have no idea. I had to make a decision to not wear makeup. I've just decided I'm 36 years old and I'm not going to try to play that game anymore. I'm not going to try to
Yeah.
look like they want me to look, and they expect me to have this, and my hair should be this way, and my makeup should be that way. And I'm like,
Yeah.
my dear, you're right. I have no idea what it's like for a woman to have to come into this business, and it's a hard life because I've talked to her before and she's like, when we're trying to record, I'm sorry, I'm going to be in Toronto. And then the next day I've got to be in Chicago. And the day after that, I got to be in Charlottesville. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't think about that part.
Yeah. It's a lot, and it's more hats than I want to wear. And I mean, I've really gotten, like you mentioned, like an up close and personal um view of what that looks like, especially with Lainey. I've gotten to watch Lainey go from fresh out of her trailer, having nothing going on, um, doing everything she can to have a door open for her, to international stardom, selling out huge venues, um, performing on every award show there is, the Grammys, just I've been right by her side watching that happen. And it truly, truly takes a special person who is wired a very specific way to thrive in that. And I know myself well enough to know that there are some aspects of it that I would absolutely thrive in. I love people. And so, like, the fan aspect, I would really enjoy that. And I would really enjoy doing all the interviews and just having conversations with people. But a lot of the other stuff, I don't know if I don't think I'm wired the same way that she is. I mean, I've never met anyone like her.
I remember telling her when she just really started to talk, because we talked to her when she was literally just out of the trailer, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
You've known her
yeah, and
as long
she
as I
told us
have.
the story about, they had the hose in the thing and the shower overflowed and she couldn't open the door, the whole thing. It's hilarious. And I remember talking to her like a year or two later, and I'm like, isn't it amazing that it did not happen for you when you were 19 and 20?
Yeah.
Because you are so much more ready for it now that you've seen what other people have gone through. And same
Yeah.
thing with you, that you've gotten that. So now you know what it is you don't want to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
And you can write a really good song. And that's what, and I love Megan Patrick, but that's what it's hard to watch her go through that because she didn't really have that. So she had to go through all the slings and arrows, not
Yeah.
knowing what it was. And it's amazing that not only was Lanny blessed with having it happen at the right time,
Mm.
but you were too,
Yeah.
having it happen at the
Absolutely.
right time.
Absolutely. And that has always been my prayer too, that nothing happened, well, that it all happened in God's timing. And it really has. And I've paid my dues in my own ways too. And that's given me well, first of all, it's made me appreciate the success that I'm having and want to glorify the Lord with that and do everything for the right reasons. And then secondly, it's just giving me a deeper well to draw from in my writing too. Cause if things come easy to you, I'm just not interested in your songs or your artistry. I'm just not because I mean, there's the country music fan base. I mean, most of those people are going through some shit.
Yeah.
And I am glad that I have also gotten to go through some shit because that has just, I think, helped my songs connect with people on a deeper level, just because I can write really honestly and have some depth in my music as well.
Well, that's what separates us from everybody else when it comes to our format
Yeah.
is that you I've said this and I hope this comes off the right way, right?
Mhm.
I'm not trying to put any pressure on her whatsoever, but I am going to be really intrigued if Taylor Swift ever gets married and has children, right?
Yeah.
Because she's such an amazing storyteller, and she's such
Yeah.
an amazing way to get into that emotional area.
Yes.
And I can't wait to see if she decides to do it. And I'm not saying she should or anything. I'm just saying if she does, I think it just adds such a different texture because the stuff she's gone through is not the stuff that you went through, right? And
Yeah.
you went on such a different emotional ride, and yours is a lot more organic that gives you, again, to me, you understand the depth of a feeling. And the reason if she ever has children, that there becomes a lot more depth to her. Because right now, why'd you have to be so mean? Or, he broke up with me or something like that. Okay. Okay. But that's not that. Where you and your background and stuff like that, and you and Lainey and you guys in Dallas, you're able to
Yeah.
go, yeah, you're able to go, listen, this is how this really hit me. And I love that because for your journey now, that's where you already are. Now, you and I both don't know what it's like to have $1 billion and play in front of 78,000 people. We don't know. That's a
Yeah.
different world she lives in too.
Oh, for sure. And well, and like different audiences need different things. It's like, for whatever reason, what me and Dallas are writing with Lainey is emotionally connecting with her fan base. And just like Taylor's amazing, crazy fan base, like what Taylor is emotionally putting into her songs. Obviously, a lot of people are
Well,
connecting
no,
with that.
again, I wasn't criticizing, right? I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
It's just there's
Just
only so much
different,
because
just
she
different
only has
emotions.
that much experience with that scenario. But she has as I've always said, she's able to connect with the young female experience.
Yes.
And
And like,
she,
yeah.
when she adds to that texture, if she decides to ever do it, and again,
Yeah.
that's why I'm telling people, I'm not saying she should. I'm just saying if
Yeah.
that's the part of the journey she goes on, it'd be interesting to see how that part of the journey works for her.
I completely agree with you. I think I would love to hear Taylor write about having kids and things like that someday.
Yeah,
And that would be really awesome.
it's interesting, and it's because you've worked with so many people. I want to start this off before we go down all the people you work with. Is there anybody that you really want to work with that you haven't worked with yet? Is there anybody
Oh,
like on your wish list that you're like, well, that would be fun? And if it's country,
for
great. If it's
sure.
not country, that's great too, because you're talented enough to go you do. My goodness, you work with Meghan Trainor and Pentatonix, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, well, that was a really fun surprise too, that how that all unfolded. But
We're going to come back on that story. I'm just going to, once you answer
oh,
that,
sure, sure.
we're going to talk about the Meghan Trainor Pentatonix now that you've teased me with it.
um, yeah, I'm trying. I think like some artists that I'd really love to work with that are outside of country would be like Miley Cyrus. I think that would be cool. Ed Sheeran, I think that would be really cool. Um, trying to think of anybody else that I'm just
Did
like,
not. I
like
had Ed Sheeran
Adele.
on my huh? Who?
Adele, that would be amazing.
Now, see, I had those on my bingo card. I did not have Miley Cyrus on the bingo card. That was
I just love her vocal. I think her vocal is so cool. So I would love to write a song for her vocal someday. Um, but yeah, I think Adele would be really, really cool. There's so many people that I'm a fan of right now. Like Teddy Swims. I have written with Teddy a few different times, but I would love to write with him more. I think he has such a cool artistry and vocal and
right with somebody like that who has a next level voice. And there's not a
yeah,
lot of next level voices. There really aren't.
yeah,
But
you're right.
do you really want to? I mean, is it? Do you want to play to that voice, or do you want to sit back and make it simple and then let him play with that voice when you're trying to write a song, right? Because with Stapleton, it'd be great to go up there and hit that upper register. If you're right for Carrie Underwood, oh, I can hit that. I can throw that note out there because she's going to hit it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or
I
do you
mean,
just
that's how I approach writes with singers who can really like that have that range or that dynamic in their voice. I mean, that's like what makes them stand out. So that's really fun to write for. And I have a pretty large range too. So that's fun to get to use my range and find some melodies that are a little different and not something I get to do every day.
I think
So
it's see, I love because you songwriters, and I've said this before. What I love about songwriting, and as you can tell, I'm kind of obsessed with it.
I like,
Is you guys grab smoke and show it to us,
mm,
and I just love that creative process of trying to come in and go that way. I mean, when I was doing my research, you guys on Heart Like a Truck, and I'm not forgot the Meghan Trainor story, folks. Don't worry.
oh,
But on Heart Like a Truck, when you said we thought it was a good song, but we didn't know it was that good of a song. And I love
yeah, we
asking
do.
songwriters, do you know? When you do it, do you know? And I'm amazed by how many of them are like, no, that was just Tuesday. That's what we wrote on Tuesday.
That's pretty much how I feel. I mean, there are definitely a bunch of songs in my catalog that I can go back and say, like, when we wrote that song that day, I knew it was special, but that doesn't always mean it lands somewhere. So it's like, that's pretty much how I felt about Heart Like a Truck. I'm like, ooh, that feels special and that like emotionally moves me. Um, and it feels like something Lainey would sing, but like that day that we wrote it, I had no idea that it was going to go on to be a radio single for her. And that it was going to go on to be nominated for CMA Song of the Year and ACM Song of the Year and be performed on a bunch of award shows and be a Dodge Ram commercial. I didn't know any of that. um, it's really hard to know that. I mean, I think any writer that knows that they wrote that kind of song the day that they do, I'd love to know how because there's just so many stars that have to align for a song to even have a life outside of the writing room. So that's why for me, I like always know when something is good, but I never know when something is gonna go on to be a hit country song.
I we were talking. I was talking to Nicole Gallion, and I said, "You ever write a song by yourself? Would you ever write a song by yourself?" And she looks at me horrified. She goes, "No." And I said, "Why?" She goes, "Because I won't have anybody to tell me if it's bad."
Yeah. That's a great quote.
And I'm like, I never thought of it from that standpoint. Do you ever solo write at all?
I actually do quite a bit. But what I do is I'll write half of a song or a chorus by myself, and then I'll bring it into a write. And I mean, that's like partially what I did with Heart Like a Truck and Wildflowers and Wild Horses. Like I brought in pieces of those songs from solo writing. And And I agree with Nicole. It's like, I could have finished both of those songs, but they wouldn't have become the songs that they were or that they are. And I do think that is something that is so special about co-writing is when you bring it to the right people, it just evolves in a way that is, I believe, like so much better and so much more interesting. Having a couple different brains on it and stories in it than like anything that you could do by yourself. I mean, I think there is a time and place to do that if it's like a really, really personal song. But especially me writing for artists, like I want their story to be front and center in that narrative. So it would be a little silly for me to finish a bunch of songs by myself because their story wouldn't be as representative in it.
That's a great answer.
At Reed Animal Hospital, they treat your pet as if it was their own. Now, I'm a very satisfied customer. I can tell you they mean that. It's not a chain. It truly is about helping you and your pet enjoy life together. Dr. David Reed and his entire staff take the time to get to know you and your pet. I can tell you what I like. He's helped me better understand what my dog Luna needs and how I can take care of her more efficiently and kindly. Find them online at reedanimalhospital.com. 2 locations, Saratoga and Campbell. Little secret from me to you, Dr. Reed actually gives you his cell number so he can answer your questions and concerns. They really are committed to you and your pet. reedanimalhospital.com.
Okay. Meghan Trainor and Pentatonix. How did that even happen?
So I don't know how to make that story quick.
You don't have to make it quick unless you got to go. She's like, Gary, I've got my sandwich right here. Yes, I need to go. But go ahead.
So this is fun fact. I told you I grew up in Texas, and some of the members of Pentatonix also grew up in Texas. And we grew up in Texas at the same time. And we didn't live in the same place. I think Scott and 2 of the other members are from Dallas, around the Dallas area. And I once upon a time was in choir in high school. And so were they. And and I went to Baylor choir camp one summer during high school. And they had a talent show at the choir camp, and I wanted to try out for it and play one of my songs that I wrote. And so I made the talent show, and the three of the 5 people in Pentatonix were also at choir camp and had entered the talent show as a cappella group. And they weren't called Pentatonix yet, but I met all of them at Baylor choir camp. And then a couple years later, they became Pentatonix and were blowing up. And I was just like, oh my gosh, those are the same people that I went to Baylor choir camp with. And what's so crazy, we didn't really keep in touch or anything after that. But what's so crazy is, I guess that was maybe 2 years ago that I wrote that song. And I got set up on a write with 2 of the members of Pentatonix because they were in town writing for their new Christmas record. And I write songs at Sony Music Publishing, and that's also where their publishing was. And so we just by chance got hooked up on a write, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun. But there's no way they're going to remember me or anything. Well, they did remember me. And so when me and the producer went to the door of the studio, we wrote with Kevin and Matt, who are 2 of the guys in Pentatonix, and they were not at Baylor choir camp. But Kevin, the first thing he said to me when we answered the door, Kevin goes, "Are you the same tranny that was at Baylor choir camp?"
How many
Scott was
trannies
asking
can
me
be out there? I mean, you know, as you and I have talked before, the name Trannie is not one you come across a lot as a name.
Nope. definitely not. But but it's just so funny that like years and years and years later, they remembered me as the girl who played her original song at Taylor Choir Camp. So anyway, it was just a really cool full circle moment to have with Pentatonix, and we wrote a really cool song and it made their Christmas record, and then Meghan Trainor ended up featuring on it, and that was a really, really cool thing because Meghan has always been an artist that I've thought really highly of, and I haven't met her yet, but I would really love to someday. But that's how that happened, and
Well,
it was, every Christmas I get to hear it on the radio, and it's really fun.
that is so cool. I just realized, as you said, the Baylor Choir, one of
Yeah.
my high school classmates was the Baylor Choir director or some professor of choir or whatever. So I don't
Oh
know
wow.
if you know the name Randall Bradley.
No, that sounds familiar to me. Yeah.
Yeah, he is at Baylor and he's been there forever. And
Wow.
thanks to Facebook, we can all see each other now. Right?
Wow.
And so I've caught up with him and he's like, yeah, I'm at Baylor. I've been doing this. I work with the choir and he could always sing, right? I mean, big shocker. He could always sing. I was in the choir also and never asked to continue. So I love those.
You're a choir dropout.
Yeah, I'm a I'm a choir cut. Is what I did.
Wow.
I love the a cappella music. You know what I'm fascinated by? The bass part. And I've had this
Oh my
conversation with people.
gosh.
The bass singers today are better than they've ever been in the history of bass singing. And I have always been, I'm not kidding you. Their range, low and high, is beyond anything that ever existed up into the last 20, 25 years.
You think so?
Ari or whatever his name is from Pentatonix, who used to be on Pentatonix, and
Oh yeah.
and Tim Faust from Home Free, and the guy from I can't remember the other, the Jeff Cadoli or Caselli or something. Their ranges are amazing on how high they
Yep.
can go and then how low they can go and still have it sound like a song that you're not just going, that you're singing.
Right.
I
Yeah, I wonder why that is. That I didn't realize that bass singers were were better than the bass singers of the past
If
these
you
days. I
want to
didn't
go
know.
down a rabbit hole, when you have time today, start pulling up, like I said, once you pull up Pentatonix and the guy who sings, who used to be the bass singer,
Yeah.
Ari, I can't remember, and Home Free, and listen to those guys and listen to when they sing and pull up stuff from the 60s and 70s. Pull up JD or whatever his name is, the guy who was the bass singer for Elvis and stuff. And
Hmm.
they all sound like this, and they were all down here. That's all the stuff like
Right.
that. And it just sounded like they were hitting notes, but they weren't singing.
Yeah.
You listen to these kids today, and they're singing at double C below. They're
Yeah.
singing. They're not just hitting the note. They're coming up singing with tone, vibrato, air, the whole thing. So if you want to just, while you're eating your sandwich, if you got
Just
3 or 4
listen to
hours to just waste, because that's what I do. My wife come down here in my office and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm researching." And she'll go over and look and she goes, "You went down YouTube again, didn't you?" And I'm like,
That does sound like a really interesting YouTube rabbit hole to go down though. I would enjoy that.
well, and
I will
just
do that.
hearing the songs and stuff, it's just crazy. And again, I'm not going to take you much longer because I do want you to go eat your lunch, and we'll do this again because now that we know we can have that. But I'm not going to you've got to explain the name Trannie, because otherwise
Oh yeah,
it's just a very unusual name.
for sure. Yeah, so on my dad's side of the family, there is a Choctaw Indian named Tranquilla. And it was a long, long time ago that she lived. I'm not exactly sure what year she passed away, but there have been 5 girls in my family named after her, and they were all named Trannie because that's what they called Tranquilla for short. And So I'm the fifth woman in my family to be named Trannie.
And that's so cool.
And it probably ends with me. But
Really? You're not gonna pass it on?
I don't think so, but it is. I'm very thankful that that's my name because it is memorable, and that's been helpful for me, I think, in my music career. I think it's having a memorable name is definitely a good thing.
And it fits you because it's to me
Yeah.
such a light, fun name,
Yeah.
right? I mean, Merle, not so much. And
Yeah, I
nor
don't think
was
I'm a
he.
Merle.
Not was he. He was not light and fun
Yeah,
whatsoever.
for sure.
He
For
was.
sure.
It's and being a singer, it's so much better and easier now. And I was having this conversation yesterday with someone who works down in Hollywood, and I was saying it's just the phone, as much as we have, as much as we hate it, has done one thing for us. And he goes, "What's that?" I said, "We don't have scandals in country music anymore." Because you know, whatever you do, it's going to be recorded. You can't. And I said, so now you don't bring along groupies or mistresses or anything. You bring along your nutritionist and your fitness trainer and your kids and all your toys, right? That's
Yeah.
what you do now. I was at the tail end. So I met the Johnny Cashes. I met the Merle
Wow.
Haggard.
Yeah.
I met those guys, and they weren't happy people because they were doing everything they could wrong, in my opinion. And that is not an indictment of their artistry. But I think they would all sit back and go, well, if I could have a do-over, I'd much rather be living the life that these kids are living, because they're living just a much better life because they know somebody's watching. You know, if you got a faith, we always know somebody's watching. But for everybody else, it may help that you have to know that somebody's watching.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think that is definitely a big part of it. And then I also think, like, I don't know, you are who you surround yourself with.
Amen.
And I also think, like, I mean, at that time, it was just a different time. Like, everyone, I mean, there's still a lot of partying going on in the country music scene, but like not like then. I mean, that was like hard drugs, like just a lot of stuff that
Well, the wantonness
it'll
and
just
stuff.
weigh you down.
Yeah, the wantonness. I don't listen. If you guys want to get together and have a few beers and laugh it off, that's fine with me. But when Kelsey Ballerini and Kaylee Hammock and all these guys would get together on these young female artists and get together and drink wine on like a Tuesday night, you know,
Yeah.
that's the kind of tie stuff on that they do now and have fun. If you're Morgan Wallen, don't give him a chair on a third floor. But other than that, right? It's
Yeah.
cool.
Everyone is relatively well behaved, honestly. Yeah.
You know, here's the thing, because I am going to let you go because I want you to go eat your lunch. I never have questions, but I had things I wanted to talk about. You see this book? You see that? You see all that stuff that's on that page?
How much did we get to?
None.
None. Oh my God.
One thing that I was going to talk to you about, which is my favorite kind of interviews ever. The moment that I don't use anything on a page, those are my favorites. I am not even kidding.
Oh, well, yeah, it's a conversation that way.
Well, because there's just so
But if
many
there's
things.
a question you want to ask me, go ahead. I'm ready for it. And then
Why does my golf swing suck so much?
that's the question you're going to ask me.
Because that's what I need. I just need you to sit back and fix my one thing. Because Trannie's a very good golfer. Okay, and we'll go down that some other time. But she is a very good golfer. In fact, so much that when you guys were out last time, Nate's like, I'm going to take Trannie and her husband, I think, to go out and play golf. And he goes, I didn't ask you because I thought you probably wouldn't want to embarrass yourself.
I remember that now.
And I appreciate that. I do. I know what Nate, you're trying to be nice. And my partner is Nate, as far as my business partner, and he is a complete asshat, but in the best way. And that's what I said. I said, the fact that you didn't want me to embarrass myself in front of Trannie Anderson, I think is so sweet.
Oh my gosh.
In a way. But yeah, I have all the desire in the world and absolutely no talent. I took my
Well,
son out to play golf one time. We were at the driving range. And he goes, "Hey, Dad." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you know your practice swing doesn't look anything like your real swing?" I said, "Hey, buddy,
oh,
if you can fix that, Daddy will buy you a motorcycle today."
well, I mean, have you taken lessons, Gary?
Oh, I'd be living in a much bigger house if I had the money that I've spent on lessons. So
Well,
what I found is if I can figure it out, and if usually somebody who plays well can go,
yeah,
"Hey, I see this. I see this. Have you
yeah,
tried this?" That usually works the best, except for Nate. Nate can give no tips whatsoever. And Nate's a scratch golfer, can give no tips.
yeah.
Not
Nate's
even
an amazing golfer.
he just
Okay, well, Gary, when I'm in California again this fall, you and I are gonna play, and I'm happy to give you any swing tips I can. But really, you need to get tips from my mom because my mom. Do you know
a
about my
pro
mom?
golfer. Your
Yeah, my
mom
mom
was
played
on
on.
the LPGA. Yes.
Yep, my mom played on the LPGA, and she also was the head golf coach at SMU in Dallas, Texas. And I think she's like one of the most talented teachers I've taken from other teachers too. I think my mom is one of the most talented golf teachers in the country. I'm going to go ahead and say that. She's amazing.
I
So you need to take a lesson from her.
I go into my little I get a couple of weeks where I play well and then it falls apart because I know it's coming. And it's like, okay. And I'm like, all right. So I just happened. I've been playing well for like 2 months. And then I played this week and just fell apart. And the guy's playing with it, he's like, because he'd played with me last week. And he's like, "Wow, you're having a bad day." And I said, I was due. I was due. He goes, because when people are playing bad and you almost kind of feel sorry for them. And I'm like,
Yeah.
don't worry. Don't worry. It'll magically come back. Don't worry. But right now, no. Okay. Go eat your cold Jersey Mike sandwich.
Oh, yes.
This has been worth the wait. You are such a delight, and I just enjoy
So are
you
you,
so
Gary?
much. And I can't wait till we do this again. And I may not even bring notes next time because I'm like, I don't care. Whatever she talks about is I'm going to talk about. That's what I'm going to do. Because we didn't talk about you being a dog walker for our dog sitter for Dan and Shay. I didn't get
Oh, yeah.
all this stuff. There's so many things we still have left to talk about. But
We can do this again. I would love to.
if you get a chance to see Trannie Anderson, yes, do it. And then you write me a letter and tell me how amazing I am. Because you're like, "Gary, you changed my life." Trannie, thank you.
Thank you, Gary. I really enjoyed the conversation and thanks for having me on.